Hi everyone that's joining. Oh my gosh, this is the first time I've done this, so this could be a pretty interesting experience for everybody. Thank you so much everyone that's just jumped straight on. Oh my god, we've got 145 people on already, that's amazing. Hi everybody, thank you so much for joining. This is it's really cool to be just connected straight away directly with everybody. Oh, hang on, I just want to make sure that I'm going to record this, although I think, because people are on different time zones, The Last Kingdom officially have said hello from the official page. That's quite a big deal. I'm a bit starstruck. I want to make sure that I record this so that people from different time zones who might not be able to log in and be on this very moment can see it. So I'm just going to make sure that I've done that. Great, I hope so. We'll go with that. I am really excited to do this. This is really fun. Thank you to everyone that's already watched the takeover story on the Last Kingdom official page. It was really cool to design that and put the all the photos together for it. It's the best thing in the world, taking photos on the Last Kingdom. I don't know how I've managed to fall into that role where I get to take photos of the cast and crew season after season. It's been such a cool thing to get to do. I've got some cast members joining. Very kind of you guys to support. Thank you. I'm gonna just jump off into some quick geeky stuff because, although I'm not sure anyone really is that interested, I kind of want to show you the cameras that I use on set. Someone's asked if I can say, hey Ronya. So before I answer any questions from the story or from the comments underneath the photos today, I just want to show you the cameras that I use because I don't know, I find it very exciting. So this is the camera that most of my photos are taken on over the last, basically that you saw on the takeover. It was actually a wedding present from my wife, possibly the best wedding present anyone could ask for. I don't know how she knew. Well, I do know how she knew, but that's going to go with Dan gave her to his grave. So it's a twin lens reflex, very old film camera. Yeah, Chris Hatchett, it's a Rolly, that's true. It makes great mechanical sounds, all that kind of stuff. But the main thing about it is it shoots onto a really big size of film, and it has a beautiful lens, and it's just a lovely little compact box of photographic making equipment. And when it first came out, people were like, oh my gosh, this changes everything. And it's still going strong. God, this must be 60 years old, so at least twice my age. And it still takes just the most amazing photos when it's used properly, which isn't always the case when I'm using it. But I've taken some of my favourite portraits of Alex on this camera, of Arnus, of Mark, of Millie. So these lenses have seen some very beautiful faces, and I am I'm absolutely in love with it. I think it's just one of my favourite things in the world. So that's my Rolleiflex. That's what most of the portraits get taken on. And then this is my old ride or die camera, which is my Leica M4, which I got on my 30th birthday as part present for myself, and part also a present from my family. And it's just an absolute classic. It's amazing. It's particularly cool because it's a rangefinder. Someone actually asked if I prefer twin lens reflex cameras. Sorry, this is so geeky, and I do understand if you want to sign off now. Twin lens reflex cameras or SLR cameras. And the answer is what I really prefer is rangefinder cameras, because my eyesight's actually not that good. I like to think it's great, but it's not, it's terrible. So I'm actually quite bad at focusing cameras, particularly old cameras like this. But the beautiful thing about rangefinder is it basically has, if you know, some people will know already, it has two images that line up and lock in place when you're looking through this viewfinder here. And then you just know it's in focus. There's no sort of like, is that in focus? Is their eye in focus? Is it their nose in focus? It's in focus. And it's just when it's dark on set, in the middle of a scene where you're trying not to be noticed and you just want to know that you've got a good shot, this camera is it's the best. I love it so much. So that's kind of my ride or die. And then just because it's mad, this is the camera that a lot of the behind the scenes has been taken on, some of which you haven't seen yet, and some of which will be coming out hopefully soon. But this is a Payad Bolex French 16mm film camera that I actually bought in Budapest whilst filming The Last Kingdom season 4, I think. And it's an absolute beautiful piece of old filmmaking equipment. Literally just 2 wheels of film just running here. It's clockwork. You wind it up with this. You look through here. It's incredibly simple, but also like the most beautiful watch that's ever been made. It's incredible. I love it. So some of my favourite stuff I've ever shot is on this, and I'm still getting used to it because it's a bit of a learning curve jumping onto one of these. I want to go through some of the questions that you guys asked. I'm loving how much love is coming in already on the chat. And thank you all you guys out there who love film and love shooting on film. That's one of the coolest things. Where I buy my film is in lots of different places, but mainly in the UK. There's an amazing place in Brixton called Parallax Photographic, which I recommend to anybody. It's an incredible business. That's where I love buying film from. But if they don't have what I need, then I go to Analog Wonderland, which is an online business, I think based in just outside London in Hampshire. They're amazing. They have some of the best stuff. And then if I'm in Hungary, there are loads of great shops. The one that I definitely should shout out is Cafe Analog, because if you're in Hungary, if you're in Budapest and you want to get into film cameras, you want to get into film, you want to just kind of go and have a coffee, it's a tiny little shop in the middle of the Jewish district. Cafe Analog, it's the best. You can get anything there. They're super cool. They help out with everything. They've processed everything I've shot. A lot of the things I've shot on The Last Kingdom, from like 16mm film to 120 film for the Rolleiflex. It's an amazing shot. So one of the best questions that I got asked that I really want to answer is why I started taking pictures on set. And it's a really good question why I started taking pictures on set, because thinking back at it, I'm not exactly sure when I did. And it's actually a really personal, the real answer is it's actually a very personal, it was a very personal thing that happened, is that I received a camera from my grandparents' house when we had to clear it out when they died, and I just wanted to take it to set, and I just thought, it'd be nice to take it to set and I can take some photos. And I took it to set, and I found that taking photos between scenes or taking photos between takes was incredibly calming. It made me so calm. And it's one of the things that I genuinely think about photography, especially film photography, even though film photography can be expensive and it can be very impractical, and there can be lots of reasons why you don't need to do it. You could just take digital photos, you could take beautiful photos on your iPhone. But there's something about film photography that is very, very meditative for me. And I need that on set because it's a really hectic place and there's a lot going on and you've got things coming at you all over the place. And I found, and this is in season 2, I found that taking photos on set helped me be calm, helped me get into character actually, and helped me just kind of do my job better. And so I was like, okay, well, I'll bring a camera to set more. I'll just keep shooting. I'll shoot more and more people, and I'll make it something that that's part of my ritual. Someone actually asked on my story whether I had any rituals for getting into character, and honestly, taking photographs on set is now one of my rituals for getting into the character of Aldhelm. And I'll tell you why, and it's maybe a bit pretentious. Aldhelm for me is he's an observer. He's a character who's like, look, he's there and he's looking, and a lot of the time he's kind of in the background of the things that are going on, and or he's having to just watch as people make terrible decisions, and so in some ways, actually also being an observer on set and taking photographs and that being part of what I do now when I'm on set, whatever job I'm on, it sort of came from my character in a way, and it's definitely helped my character. That's something that's definitely been the reason that I started taking photos, but it's also definitely one of the reasons that I have continued taking photos, because it's actually just been a great thing, and it's something I really, really believe in, is that it's really good to have a creative thing that you do that is, whether you work in a creative industry or you do something artistic for your job or not. It's really great just to have a tiny little creative project that's just yours, and it's kind of like that you can hold for yourself, and that is private, but you can share with other people if you want to. And photography, that for me. I don't do it professionally at all. I'm a super amateur. I'm a super amateur, and I'm just so pleased whenever photos come out well, I'm surprised sometimes when photos come out well, but I definitely want to keep feeling like an amateur, because I think that's definitely the way forward for me, and definitely the way it keeps the passion for it alive, and keeps me excited about things. So I will answer a question about season 5 from Brazilian Last Kingdom, which is, what can we expect from season 5? What we can expect from season 5 is, I think, one of the best seasons of The Last Kingdom we've ever done. And the reason I say that is because under the circumstances that we filmed it, and under the circumstances that it was written, and everything that had been going on in the world and is still going on in the world, and it is so crazy and tragic, and it's sort of impossible to get our heads around. There was a lot of soul put into season 5, season 4 as well, but very much into season 5, and I think you can see that on the screen. I really hope you can see that on the screen, and I think the writers did an incredible job. I think all the actors did an incredible job. The cast, crew, the whole creative team, the execs. It's a real. I think it's going to be a really, really, really great season, and I'm really excited for you to see it. It's going to be a roller coaster emotionally. I think there's so much to happen, but it's really, really exciting that it's going to be out next week, and you guys are going to see it, and I'm going to get to see it as well in its totality, because I've only seen moments of it, and getting to see the whole thing, and everyone's performances and all of the work that went into making season 5, getting to see that on March 9th is going to be really, really, really exciting. I'm just going to have to be careful not to just binge it completely straight away. Someone has asked on the chat, and there was also a question that I got from Special K03, if you're watching, which is recommendations for first camera, but also first film camera. My recommendation for first film camera is 1000% the Olympus Trip, which is a tiny little camera. It's the camera that I actually inherited from my grandfather. It's a tiny little camera, the Olympus Trip, and very simple, very, very cheap, sort of automatic but sort of manual, and it takes just really, really beautiful photos, and it's just, anyone can pick it up. I remember being in the Leica store in London, and someone came in saying that they wanted to buy their first film camera, and the person who was meant to be selling them a Leica, it was one of the things I love so much about the store, the person that was meant to sell them the Leica camera that was cost thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds, so expensive, just said, I wouldn't, if it's your first camera, I wouldn't buy a Leica, I'd buy something, maybe an Olympus Trip. And I remember thinking, yeah, he's absolutely right. Great, what a great first camera. So the Olympus Trip, definitely my first camera recommendation, 1000%. If you want a digital camera, and you're into that kind of thing, then I'd say any digital camera that has a lens that doesn't zoom is a great first camera. If you're getting into some of the questions coming in. If you're getting into photography for the first time, if you get a camera with a fixed lens, it just limits your options in a way that's really, really helpful, and a way that I find really helpful. So I definitely do that. Harry Gilby has asked me, my good friend Harry Gilby, what recommendations for a first waterproof disposable camera? And that's quite a difficult question because there aren't that many waterproof disposable cameras out there on the market. I think maybe one or two, and a lot of them have been discontinued. As anyone who shoots film knows that lots of this stuff is just getting discontinued all the time. So the best one would probably be, I'd say, would be buy a second-hand Nikon 35 AFW, I think, and which is like a film camera that's waterproof and usually costs about 50 quid if you're lucky. I'd buy that, and then it doesn't have to be disposable. You don't have to throw it away at the end. You can just and yeah, a little bit of me. Yeah, they definitely do still make them, the disposable ones, just not so many nowadays. Someone's asked how to make a good photo of the moon, as I always struggle. I have a couple of times on set really, really, really wanted to take a beautiful photo of the moon, because on our set in Hungary, we get to see it all times of day and night, and it's it's amazing, like being able to see it in spring, winter, summer, all these different seasons, all these different skies. Just imagine the sky changing over Wessex, the Wessex set, like over seasons, over four series. It's amazing, and so often we see the moon across the reeds in the lake, which is near our set. And I always try and photograph it, and it is basically impossible. I think you need to get really into like astro photography if you're going to take a good photo of the moon. Reka has just said hi. Reka, who is one of my favourite ever costume people ever, and also I think one of my favourite collaborators on any show of any kind of anything creative at all. So I love you, Reka. I'm going to answer Andrew's question actually now, which is who's the goofiest cast member to be around? And this is a really difficult one because goofy, I don't know, maybe goofy to you is a negative word, and it's definitely not to me. I'm not sure goofy is the right word, but the funniest member of cast to be around is definitely Eliza Butterworth, because she is just hilarious. Her impressions, her voices, her energy, just her character as a person, her personality, she's just so fun and funny to be around. So Eliza Butterworth, 1000%, goofiest and funniest member of cast. M. Smith asked me if I had a best memory of being behind the lens, and I think I do have my favourite memory of being behind the lens, which is we were all on the Aylesbury set, and I think it was Team Uhtred, me, Millie, and Finn, who plays young Uhtred. And this is when I created, by mistake, one of my favourite ever photographs of the cast. And we were all just kind of sitting on set, having lunch, just hanging out, and it was hot. It was really, really hot. And lots of people have asked whether it's nicer to shoot in summer and winter. And for me, I love shooting in the winter, because summer, when you're wearing armour and you're wearing leather and you're wearing all that stuff, is really, really hot. I'd rather be cold in armour than hot in armour. I'll tell you that. And I think there's plenty of other people on the show that would agree. And so we were sweating away on the stairs of Aylesbury, and I bought out this camera. Actually, I think I bought out this camera for the first time on set, and I think Alex asked if he could have a look at it, and so people started like passing it around and like taking photos a bit, and just sort of looking at it, being like, "What is this? What is this kind of weird boxy camera?" And then someone else just decided they wanted to take a kind of like a group photo of Team Uhtred, and Millie was there, and Finn was there too. and everyone just lined up to take this photo on somebody's iPhone. And I just was sitting there and I just raised the camera and looked into the viewfinder and just saw this beautiful image of just everyone all together. It's my favourite photo of, like, group photo from the show. And I just remembering, like, looking through the viewfinder, and this is again one of the things that I love so much about photography, is when you look through the viewfinder and you see a photo that you're like, oh my gosh, that's beautiful. These people are beautiful. And this place is beautiful. This scene is beautiful. Like, getting to take that shot is amazing, and I love that moment. It was just so, even though, as I say, like, in some ways I prefer shooting in the winter, that moment in the summer felt so magical, and we just were having, like, that time in between scenes that can be so kind of, I don't know. We feel so lucky to just be there together in each other's company doing the show. And yeah, it was that moment through my lens behind my camera was definitely one of my favourite. I want to answer Vicky Steer's question, which is who is the most photogenic? And I mean, I feel like the obvious answer is I don't know, like Alex or Millie, or and those are two very photogenic people. But I've got to say it. Arnus Federovicius is the most photogenic person on set. It is impossible to point the camera at him and not get something beautiful. He's just that face, those eyes. Arnus is a very photogenic man, and I enjoy every time I open my camera up and point it at him. I'm having a lovely time. I know that I'm going to get something great. And so yeah, the most photogenic on set, I'd say probably Arnus for sure. Elder4041 asked if I prefer taking candid pictures or setup pictures, and again, I love answering photography questions, so thank you so much for asking. The answer to that is I love candid photos. I just think that being able to catch something in the moment of it happening is just really fun. It's so fun. It's amazing when you get to set up and you get to control. And there's been a couple of times when I've got to do that. I've got to take portraits and I've got to control the light and control the angles and just control something. Whereas on set is chaos. I mean, on set is chaos for a photographer. I mean, it's very managed chaos, and everyone is doing their thing, and it's this very, very intricate machine that's all just working at speed to make the show. And so trying to get in there as a photographer, I have so much respect for the set photographers on our show, the ones that come in and take the portraits and they take the stills and they take the behind the scenes officially for the show. They're incredible. They're incredible photographers. They just, they just appear and they just find those moments in amongst all of the stuff that's happening, and they stay out of the way and you hardly even know they're there. And it's a really, really hard job. So I love it when I get to, play that role a little bit and also get to hide on set and try and grab photos of people and try and grab photos of moments. But at the same time, I love grabbing a character and grabbing an actor and saying, can I take your portrait now, and just taking them off to another part of the set and trying out some different things, because they're like, everyone on this show is so generous and so giving that it's really lovely asking them to to take a photo together or to make something together. And I think one of the things that I will miss about the show most, with this being the final season, is what a collaborative, creative atmosphere there is on set. It really is like nothing else I've really experienced. And I've been on lots of great sets, lots of sets with really amazing casts and crews. But there's something about The Last Kingdom, and there's something about the fact that we've got to do this for so many seasons now, never really knowing if whether it be another one, and only because of the fans and the support that we got to do another season, and another season, and another season. there's something about that group of people that is just really, really good at collaborating and really good at coming up with ideas and really good at, like, if someone has a project, whether it's a script or a prank or anything just fun and creative, the photos, then everyone just is so supportive and just piles in and goes, I'd love to have my photo taken, or I'd love to do this, or I'd love to, what should we do? Let's try this, let's try that. And it's so kind and generous, particularly when people are working really, really hard, really hard on set. There's not a huge amount of time to just be available and say, I'll go and take a photo, sure. But everyone is just amazing, and so that's something I'm going to miss so much. It's just such a wonderful environment to be creative with other people, and we're so lucky to get to do it all together. And I feel so lucky that I've managed to stay alive for so long as Aldhelm in the show, because it really has. And someone else has asked this question before. It really is like a family, and it has become a family, and that's through the creative team, the production, the crew, the cast, the fact that so many people come back each year, so many people come back each season, which is a testament to the production itself. It means that you really do grow really strong bonds, and you really grow strong friendships. And so someone asked on the comments who was my best friend on set. Who's my best friend on set? I was like, I don't have a. There's not a best friend. It's just such a big family group. It'd be like saying, who's your best friend in your family? So the answer is sort of no one and everyone, because it is just a really. It's just a great group, and I'm so grateful to have been part of it. Jenube, I don't know if I said that right, has asked what's my most memorable filming location, and in season 3 there's a moment where we cross a lake to get to Uhtred's home in, I've forgotten the name of his old home. I feel bad about that. And we turn up at the port, and it's Ethelred and Aldhelm and we're in this boat together, and no one's getting on very well. But the location was so beautiful, just crossing this lake backwards and forwards, to get all of the coverage as we approached Uhtred's house. There's such a beautiful place to film, really just unreal. And you're just sitting in this boat thinking, Cookham, thank you so much, Real Sides Podcasts. You guys, I can always trust you guys to know the answers to those things. The set where we had Cookham by the lake, just so wonderful, just sitting in a boat together with the camera crew and the support boats, and you're just sort of going backwards and forwards in the water, and you're thinking, this is what a beautiful experience to be here. But generally, we film in amazing locations. We film on amazing sets, and as I said before, getting to see them throughout the seasons, in some ways, that's maybe my favourite part of the whole experience, is that, a sunrise in the winter on the Wessex set, or a sunset on one of the battle sets, or a sunrise, when it's freezing cold. Some freezing cold mornings on season 5, and you get up and you'd be knackered, and the crew would have been up even earlier than you, and everyone's kind of like finding their way to set, and getting their bodies into gear, and then you just arrive in this beautiful, beautiful sunrise, and you go, okay, well, that's. I think even like the hardest heart has to melt at that point, when even if it is frozen from a kind of a 3 or 4 a.m. Start and like a -4, -6 weather report that you've woken up to. getting to see those sunrises and those sunsets is kind of really special. Particularly being part of that group and that unit is really, really cool. Someone asked on here what it was like filming during the pandemic. I mean, it was very strange, and it was definitely different, and there were all sorts of protocols in place to try and keep everybody as safe as possible and bubble us all together. But the thing that I would say that came out of it that I don't think I expected or anyone expected is it really bonded everyone very, very closely. Because first of all, we knew we were very lucky that we were filming at all for season 5, and that we were filming in the midst of everything that was going on in the world. I think that kind of, focused us to an extent. But also just being together, because we had to be bubbled, we were just together so much of the time, and in a way that you don't usually film television in that way, being all together all the time. And sure, there was definitely some cabin fever at points, but it was such an amazing experience to be there all together, filming the last season. It was an amazing experience, a challenging experience, but definitely an experience that I was really grateful for, and one that in some ways it was a real surprise that how positive an experience it was even with all of the restrictions and the safety and all of the precautions. We still could do it. We could still make the show, but I really do think we've made one of the best seasons ever for the show, which is really, really, really exciting. Rhythm and Words asked a question that I do really want to answer. I think I've kind of answered it already, really, which is, do you anticipate working with this same community on future projects, so the same group of cast and crew? And 1,000%. I want to work with the people that I've worked with on this show, even though this is the last season and that this show is ending. I'm going to want to go back and work with these people again, because they're amazing. And there's, even though the show is ending, the relationships that have been built through this process, both kind of just friendships and also creatively, I'm sure, I know that we'll all work together again, and I know that we'll all be trying to make it happen so that we can work together again, because I think it's been such an amazing experience. And I think we'll also really hope to film in Hungary again and get to film with the crew and in the places that we've managed to work in whilst being over here, because it's been an amazing place to be in it, and an amazing filmmaking community to get to work with and be part of. The crews in Hungary are incredible, and the level of skill that we get to work with is unbelievable. And so, I think I actually said this recently to someone. I never expected Hungary to be such a big part of my life by the age that I am, and I'm so glad that I've been able to work here, and it's been a really, really, really cool experience, and something that I hope to get to do again in the future, for sure, absolutely for sure. I'm going to wrap this up, guys, because I don't want to take up too much of your time, and if anyone has any really, really burning questions that they want to ask, please just shoot them into the chat now, and I'll see if I can scoop them up. Someone asking if they want to see a Dungeons and Dragons campaign with all of us. I know a cast member called Harry McIntyre who could definitely make that happen, and make it happen very beautifully. So maybe we should talk to him about that. Saznak City, I will answer that question before I go for sure, because it's what is my favourite technique for developing photos. My favourite technique, completely honestly, is to send it to a great lab and get them to develop it and scan it. That for sure is my favourite technique for developing my photos, because some of the labs that I get to work with are incredible at doing that, and I can't do anything like that. But this season I did scan almost every one of my photos myself, and I scanned them with this incredible plugin, which I'll link in on my page at some point, and that was a really gratifying experience. I really love the process of scanning, because turning a photo from its analog to digital form is really cool, and it's a really fun thing to get to do. Someone asked, like a way back, and has asked a couple of times, and I feel like I should answer it, how I started my journey as an actor. And the truth is that I started my journey as an actor entirely through luck. And it's probably the same as how I started started as a photographer. It's just something that kind of happened, and I grabbed it. And I was coming out of university, and I had the opportunity to find an agent through some of the theatre that I'd been doing, and I managed to convince them that they should sign me. I don't know how I did that, really, in hindsight. And then I managed to be part of Andrew Arnold's Wuthering Heights as my first job, and that was an incredible first job. And it's that job, the love. I talked about other sets that I've been on that really have an amazing community and have an amazing feel, and my first job, Wuthering Heights, was definitely one of those. It was just the community was incredible, and the cast and crew dynamic was so close and so gelled, and going from that to any other job was really difficult, because Wuthering Heights was just such a wonderful experience, and I was only there for maybe 2 weeks or 3 weeks, but I really felt part of the community and part of the job, and I hope that that's kind of the same for everyone that joins The Last Kingdom, because it definitely was for me. Joining The Last Kingdom, I immediately felt part of a really warm group, and a really welcoming group. And so, in some ways, The Last Kingdom was the first job after Wuthering Heights where I really felt at home. I was like, oh my god, this is like my first job. This is like that first community feel of making something, even though it's on a completely different scale and a completely different type of filmmaking. Becoming part of The Last Kingdom really weirdly felt a little bit like coming home, and it felt like being part of a family that really loved what it was doing and really loved making the show, and it's a really cool thing to be part of, and so I'm really grateful to have joined it. It's been such a huge part of my life, and so I'm going to answer my final question, which is, how do I feel about The Last Kingdom coming to an end? And the answer to that is, I don't know. It's a really emotional thing to finish a show that you've been doing for this long, and in which you've made such close friendships, and in which you feel like you've been really deeply involved in. And so, number one, I'm just so grateful that I've got to take the photographs on set that I've taken. And so, really, everyone that's tuned in, thank you so much for looking at those behind the scenes photographs, because it means as much to me that people see them and go, I get to see a little bit behind the scenes of the show. It means as much, but also just taking the photos and having taken the photos means so much to me, because it really feels like I'm trying to hold on to the beautiful memories of this show. Like, all of those photos for me are just memories. And in some ways that's why I like to shoot on film, why I've enjoyed shooting on film so much, is because they feel like memories. Those kind of old photos, even when they're not very good, they feel like memories. And I know that I'm going to look back on the show with such fond memories, and that I'm going to be so grateful that I have those photos to commemorate it. And so I'm super grateful that I got to be this kind of like unofficial archivist of seasons 2 to 5. And I'm as much as I'm sad that the show is is ending, and that season 5 is the last season. It's such a great season to end on, and the story is I'm so excited for you to see the story that it feels right, but it's never going to feel right in my heart to leave Aldhelm and to leave this world and to leave the family of the show. But at the same time, I know that that family's going to continue, and I know that the show sort of continues, and I know that even though season 5 is the end, there's still the film to come, so there's still story that's gonna be there, and there's still that little extra that we can enjoy. But season 5 being the last season is a great way to finish. So I just want to say thank you so much for joining me for this live. My first live, I had no idea what I was doing. You guys have been so kind. I've really enjoyed answering your questions. I will jump onto Instagram over the next couple of days and answer the questions that I couldn't answer on here because I don't want to bore you all to death with my photo anecdotes. But thank you so much. I want to say thank you so much to the cast and crew of The Last Kingdom and production for letting me be part of this show and letting me photograph all these moments and memories that I love so much and have enjoyed being the observer for. So I hope all of you have a great evening, are safe and well in the world, and I cannot wait for all of you to see season 5 next week. It can't come too soon, but it's going to be fantastic. So I'm going to sign off now and have a great evening. Thanks, guys.